Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan. And if you're wondering why the J, the answer is I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke, as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. Hello, friends. My name is Gordon Duncan. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thankful that you're here for the podcast as we just continue chugging along. Last week, thank you, we had a great episode where I revisited my predictions for 2024 about what's in and what's out. That was fun to go back. I had actually forgotten that I had done that episode, so it was fun to find it, and then fun to see, where am I in terms of how close I was to my predictions. If you see me moving around or forgive me, I just cut the grass and grabbed a shower. I'm still a little bit itchy, so forgive me. If you're watching this episode, I'll do my best to keep my hands down. But like I said, just a little itchy this morning. So I heard an expression that has been helpful to me in reminding me the way I try to approach life, but it's also a reminder when I let things get out of control. And I think grasping the meaning of this phrase is going to be really, really important. So let me grab a cup of coffee and join me. Let me grab a sip here. So there is a phrase called the dichotomy of control. The dichotomy of control. Now, a dichotomy is when there's opposite of two things, or there's always two things present. And the dichotomy of control is when you're in a circumstance, ask yourself about this circumstance, what do I have control over? And what do I don't have control over? And then you put your energy in where you have control. So for example, let's say you get a surprise bill. Let's say there's a car repair that the car's broken and you've taken it to the doctor. Forgive me. You're taking it to the garage, and they're like, "Hey, we'll get back to you. It's gonna be tomorrow, and we'll let you know how much it's gonna cost." Now, at that point in time, you could begin really stressing, like, "How much is this gonna cost? Oh no, it's gonna be super expensive." Forgive the coffee. I just haven't had enough today. You're like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And you could go down a rabbit hole or rabbit trail of just worry. But what you don't have any control of in that moment is what the person at the garage is going to say. So then you ask the other question, what do you then have control over? Well, you could do a couple of things. You could do a little research about the repair. So maybe you could find out what actually is being looked at. It might give you a greater sense of comfort. You could be like, you know what? I need to double down, work. I need to go do what I can to make a little extra money. So you can put your energy there. But the question is, do you spend the time on the things that don't work, or do you spend the time on things that do work? Do you spend the time on the things you don't have control over, or do you spend the time on the things you do? And if you spend your time only on the things that you have control over, it will transform your life, because you can't do anything about the things that you don't have control over. So if you're just stressing about that, all you're doing is deteriorating the quality of your life. Let's say you're in a season where you just need more money. Things are more expensive for your kids, or they're more expensive for your business, and it's easy to worry. And so let's say you're worried about it. You're stressing and you're stressing. And you're like, oh no, what are we going to do? Or you could put your energy into getting better at work. You could put your energy into working harder. You could put your energy into producing more revenue. I know I've given you 2 revenue examples, but then all of a sudden you're like, instead of sitting here just continually grinding and worrying about what you don't have control over, every time you have a sense of worry, instead put your energy into the thing that you do have control over, which should be your ability to make money. Let's say you have a fitness goal. That fitness goal might be everything from, for me right now, running a marathon and hitting a goal, or it could be losing weight, whatever the case may be. Could be that every single time you worry, instead of worrying, you do something that contributes towards helping you make that goal. And so what this takes is it takes a willingness to be aware when you're worried. And when you're aware of it, you go, wait a minute, what am I worried about? Okay. What can I control? What can I do in this moment to take control of the situation? Then go do that instead of worry. It's a transformative way to approach things. One, okay, I can't control this outcome. I'm not going to worry. Instead, I'm going to do something. I knew someone that um, was worried about taking a test. And they're like, this test is going to be so hard, right? And they were worrying. Instead of worrying, every time they had the thought, I'm not going to do well, they went and studied because that's what they had control over. And so that was their approach. And so this dichotomy of control. What do you have control over? What do you not have control over? Whatever you don't have control over, don't put energy at all into that. What do you do have control over? Then go that direction. You might say, Gordon, this is so hard. Exactly. But the point is, recognize when you are worrying about things you don't have control over. And once you begin to recognize it, know immediately, here's what I can do instead of worrying, and put your energy into the thing that you do have control over. So that's called dichotomy of control. It is one of the ways in which I try to lead my life. But listening to this podcast and restudying dichotomy of control, it's a good reminder, instead of going down the rabbit trail or the sloth of despond, or whatever you want to call it, when you have that feeling, recognize it and then put your energies into what you do have control over. So I hope this has been helpful. Quick, short episode. Let me know what you think. Hit me some feedback. If you want to schedule an appointment with me, just go to capitalizeyourbest.com and go from there. And as always, friends, I appreciate you tuning in and listening, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks a lot.